Hello, my name is Runa Ya. I'm doing my PhD research in musicology at the University of Cologne, Germany. The title of my presentation today is Exploring Rhythmic Musical Entrainment in People with Alzheimer's Disease. My presentation is organized into 4 parts. Firstly, I will give you a very brief introduction of Alzheimer's disease and show you a video about the patient's ability to music. Then I will present 2 neurobiological accounts concerning these issues. I will then present my proposal advocating the exploration of rhythmic entrainment in AD and summarize the main ideas in the end. Alzheimer's disease is a neurodegenerative, age-related disease that leads to the progressive decline in cognitive function beyond what might be expected from the usual consequences of biological aging. It affects memory, thinking, orientation, comprehension, calculation, learning capacity, language, and judgment. The impairment in cognitive function is commonly accompanied by changes in mood, emotional control, behavior, or motivation. The World Health Organization estimates that there are more than 55 million people are living with dementia in 2019. This number is estimated to rise to 78 million by 2030 and to 139 million by 2050. Despite the progressive decline of cognitive function, people with Alzheimer's disease show relatively intact musical memory for long-known musical information and an intact ability to engage with music. This video shows the interaction between a music therapist and a lady with AD. You can see how they interact with each other through their bodies, gestures, and gaze.
I can't give you anything but love, but baby, you're the only thing I think of. Baby, clean a while, seen a while, you're sure to find happiness, and I guess all those things you've always pined for. Gee, I'd like to see you looking swell, baby. Diamond bracelets, golden rings sell, baby. Till that lucky say, get up them stairs, baby. I can't give you anything but love. Ah, la, 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 la.
So the question is why? Why music? Neurobiological approaches suggest there might be distinctive memory modalities which are affected only in the late stage of AD, enabling the preservation of long-known music information. Concerning positive effects of music on AD patients, Mazzirini and Kirsch propose 3 potential brain mechanisms. The first one is the stimulation of neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. Music evoked emotion can activate the anterior hippocampal formation, which may lead to a deceleration of atrophy and a reversal of loss of hippocampal volume. The second mechanism concerns dopamine release, which may prevent age-related cognitive decline. The third neuromechanism is inflammatory processes. Positive effects of music on the modulation of immune system activity may also mitigate neurodegeneration in AD. However, the neurobiological approaches are insufficient to understand AD patients' ability to actively engage with music through joint musical activities, which are participatory, embodied, and interactive. Alternatively, I propose to explore this dimension of music making through the framework of entrainment. Entrainment or synchronization refers to a complex process of adjustment of rhythms of oscillating objects due to their weak interaction. It is a universal phenomenon and can be observed in physical and biological systems. Clayton and colleagues introduced the concept entrainment in music research, especially in ethnomusicological research, aiming at broadening the understanding of music making and music reception as an integrated, embodied, and interactive process. Interpersonal music entrainment has been investigated in the natural, professional settings cross-culturally, but little attention is drawn concerning the musical encounters outside the professional performance situations. In the therapeutic context, entrainment-based neurologic music therapy has been applied, for instance, in gait rehabilitation for Parkinson's disease and sensory-motor regulation for autism spectrum disorder. However, they focus mainly on individual rehabilitation. Little work has been done concerning the interpersonal dimension of entrainment. Therefore, from a therapeutic perspective, exploring interpersonal rhythmic entrainment in AD can facilitate the development of novel non-pharmacological therapeutic strategies for dementia prevention and intervention. From a theoretical perspective, it can broaden the framework of musical entrainment to non-professional musical activities and gain understanding of AD patients' music ability from a participatory, embodied, and interactive point of view, which can be complementary to neurobiological accounts. So let me briefly summarize the main ideas I presented so far. Alzheimer's disease is a neurodegenerative age-related disease that manifests in the progressive decline of cognitive function. However, people with AD show relatively intact ability to engage with music. Neurobiological approaches concerning these issues are brain-centered. They are insufficient to explain the participatory, embodied, and interactive dimension of joint music activity between AD patients and the therapist, for instance. This dimension can be best understood through interpersonal rhythmic music entrainment. From a theoretical perspective, exploring interpersonal music entrainment in AD can broaden the framework of music entrainment to non-professional music activities. From a therapeutic perspective, it can facilitate the development of non-pharmacological therapeutic strategies. And most importantly, it may shed new light on the understanding of the innate human capacity for music through aging. Not only newborn babies are interaction ready through music-like activities with their caregivers, but such ability also seems to preserve at the late stage of life in AD patients who progressively lose their ability to memorize, to learn, even to speak. I would like to end my presentation by quoting music therapist Rachel Dana-Smith, who reflects on her music interaction with a lady she called Mrs. G, who was in her late 80s with middle to severe dementia. I quote, "My intuitive response as therapist to Mrs. G not only entailed my listening and hearing, but also my looking and seeing. I felt that her often powerful engagement of me in this process was reciprocal. This was an experience that we were actively sharing and taking part in. It may be through shared music making that elderly people with a degenerative syndrome such as dementia can gain access to an experience of themselves by another, and most importantly, the experience of being seen and heard." Thank you for your attention.